Good morning, everyone. Good evening and good afternoon to viewers from all walks of life. This is Desmos, and you are welcome to the channel of truth, enlightenment, freedom, and the channel of breaking empaths free. If you are new, on this channel I talk about narcissism and narcissistic abuse, I talk about spirituality, and I talk about personal and self-development. And if any of that resonates with you, I invite you guys to join us, give us a like, share the video with friends, and you may subscribe if you haven't already. And for those that have always been with us, you are welcome back, and I thank you for your love and support. Today we are going to talk about dysfunctional family units. Of course, over the years we've been talking about narcissistic family dynamics, so this is also a component of a dysfunctional family unit. But as well, it doesn't always mean that all dysfunctional families, they could be narcissistic as well, although narcissism is one of the biggest components of most of the families that are actually operating out of dysfunction. Now let us understand where this dysfunction is coming from. These families are infested with a lot of generational trauma. So this has been trauma that usually has been carried on for so many generations over the years, and it has actually continued to manifest in those current families. And here with me today, I have got 9 signs that you're actually involved, or you have been involved in the dysfunctional family unit. So these are the signs that are going to help you. A lot of guys who are the scapegoats of those families, the black sheep, it may help you to actually make your next move, because now you're going to know what you're dealing with, and you're actually going to have to make very serious critical decisions. Because I've told you guys, if you have been a scapegoat or you are a scapegoat of those kind of families, the very first thing you'll ever do for yourself, the most important thing you'll ever do, is to walk away and get out of there and do not participate in this kind of units for whichever way, shape or form. The sign number 1 that you're involved in a dysfunctional family unit is when a lot of family members in that family, they are involved in some kind of a competition. So of course you will see a lot of these siblings, the sisters competing with the brother, who is driving the best car, who is sleeping in the biggest mansion, who has got the best job and other kind of things, who is looking the prettiest and stuff like that. So if they are girls, for example, you'll see a lot of them, they are competing who is the prettiest in the family, who has got the best makeup, who is actually attracting the best guys in town, or if it's boys or men, they're also competing against each other, who is actually attracting the cutest girls in town. So in that family, there's a lot of competition. Now, competition also comes in so many ways. I've just given you guys an example of what competition can be, or what it looks like. But competition as well, it comes in so many ways when you're talking about dysfunctional family units. If you are in a family whereby you're seeing a lot of competition within those members of the family, ladies and gentlemen, it is most likely you are dealing with a dysfunctional family unit. The sign number 2 that you're actually most likely dealing with a dysfunctional family unit is when there's a lot of sicknesses and illnesses, sometimes even most of them unexplainable. Now, sometimes you will see very long term, we're talking about long term sicknesses. They could be short term, but sometimes there will be long term sicknesses. You know what I mean? You could be having sicknesses such as, sickle cells. You could be having a lot of these other very complex and complicated sicknesses, which are sometimes even very difficult to cure. You have got to know that those sicknesses, most of the times, they have got nothing to do with that entire family unit as a whole. So these are sicknesses that have actually been passed on from the other previous generations, and actually they have continuously manifested in that current family at that time. Sometimes there may be also different sicknesses, such as, they could be like HIV, there could be some other, you could be seeing a lot of kids are born prematurely, some of the kids are born crippled or things like that. If you're having a lot of those families like that, ladies and gentlemen, you have got to know there is a very big chance and a very big likeliness it is most likely a dysfunctional unit as well. The sign number 3, actually, that you are involved or you may be involved in the dysfunctional unit is when in that unit there's a lot of addictions as well. So you could be seeing sometimes family members who are involved with drug addictions, sometimes they're involved with sex addictions, sometimes they're involved with alcohol addictions, and so many different kinds of addictions as well. Again, it still comes out to the generational trauma that has been embodied with those families, because that trauma has been, again, passed on from previous generations, and most of the times it has actually continued to manifest in those families, because these are things that have been passed on to other generations from the previous generations in that family. So if you're having a family whereby you're seeing a lot of members are struggling, so many addictions, somebody is addicted to drugs, another one is addicted to sex, another one is addicted to alcohol, and all those kind of different types of addictions, there's a likeliness although it may not necessarily be the case, but there's a very big chance, ladies and gentlemen, you are involved most likely with a dysfunctional family unit. Sometimes you may even be having parents who are actually addicts. They could be alcoholics, or sometimes they could be drug addicts, and sometimes they're actually passing on these things to the children as well. So these things are also, these habits and things are also being passed on and actually being adopted by the children as well. And they're also going to continuously pass them on to their generations to come. You know what I mean? So that's the reason as to why I've told you guys the generational cycle breakers. You are the ones that see these kind of things. You are the ones that stop them. So those kind of cycles stop with you. If you have seen addictions as a sign number 3, sex, alcohol, drugs, and different types of addictions in those families, or it could even be sometimes gambling. You could be having parents who are actually gamblers, and they have actually passed on this gambling addiction to the children. There's a very big likeness, ladies and gentlemen. The family you're operating in, you're involved with, is a dysfunctional family unit. Another one, point number 4, the sign that you're involved or you have been involved with the dysfunctional family unit is when, which is the most common one, narcissism. A lot of families, dysfunctional families, which is the most subject I've been talking about on my videos. We've been talking about narcissistic family dynamics. So a lot of times, dysfunctional families also, there's a lot of narcissism involved. Now again, it still comes back to the generational trauma that has been passed on from the previous generations. So there could have been a very long line of ancestors that were narcissists, so they kept on passing on these habits and narcissism to the generations in that time. So when you're having a family whereby you're seeing narcissistic parents, abuse in the family, emotional abuse, psychological abuse, physical abuse, there's a very big chance, ladies and gentlemen, that family you're dealing with at that point is one of the biggest signs that actually it is a dysfunctional family as well. The point number 5 that you are most likely involved or you have been involved in the dysfunctional family unit is when there's a lot of favorism in the house. The father is going to favor the daughter. The daughter is going to favor the youngest brother, and the youngest brother is going to favor the biggest brother. So you are seeing a lot of this favorism happening, whereby sometimes, like we guys who have been the scapegoats of those families, the black sheep of the family, you already know what I'm talking about when I'm trying to say and to mention something about favorism. You have seen a lot of times when there's been parties, there have been occasions happening, you have not been invited, or sometimes there is family members who have been receiving Christmas gifts or birthday presents or the things like that, and you have actually been the one who has always been missed out. It's just because you, as a black sheep, you are not the family's favorite. I've told you, you are the family's outcast. So most of the times you will see a lot of favorism. People will get presents, people will get promotions, people will get surprises, birthday gifts, presents and everything. You, as a person, you will not see anything. If you are noticing in your family there's favorism, ladies and gentlemen, there's a very big chance. There's a very big chance the family that you're involved with and you're dealing with is a dysfunctional family unit. Number 6, sign that you're involved or you have been involved in the dysfunctional family unit is when there's a lot of jealousy in that family as well. Now, families, normal functioning families, they work together. So a person achieves something is another person's happiness. So if your brother achieves something, you congratulate them, you celebrate with them. You know what I mean? But sometimes in dysfunctional family units, you will see when there is somebody who has achieved something, they have got something very big in their life happening. They have bought a new car, a very big car. Things are going well for them, and all of a sudden, somebody is jealous about them. They are coming around and talking. Oh, they think that they are driving a Mercedes. You know what I mean? They think that they're driving a BMW, the things like that. They think that they've got the biggest house. So a lot of jealousy is actually happening within those units as a whole. Jealousy is a sign of dysfunction, ladies and gentlemen. If you have seen jealousy in your home, between family members, or even sometimes between the parents as a whole, you had best believe you are most likely dealing with a dysfunctional family unit. Number 7, the 7th sign that you are actually involved or you have been involved in a dysfunctional family unit is when there's actually witchcraft happening in those homes. Now, let's be very specific on this one. Witchcraft, usually, it is something that is learned from the parents. The parents learned this thing from the grandparents. The grandparents learned this thing from their ancestors. So this thing has again carried on in previous generations, and actually it has continuously manifested in that current generation. So when you're seeing a lot of witchcraft, you're seeing your parents are spending a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of energy doing witchcraft, voodoo, and experimenting in different kinds of cults and dark societies, things like that, black magic. You had best believe, ladies and gentlemen, that family is operating out of a dysfunction. So most likely, the entire family is going down unless something has got to be broken, and something will get to be broken in that family, which we're talking about the generational curse of the family. Witchcraft is a sign of a dysfunction. Sign number 8 that you're involved in the dysfunctional family unit is when you're experiencing a lot of times people are barren. Sometimes if it's the men, they could be having low sperm count, or sometimes if it's the women, they could be having problems with their ovaries, something with their eggs. They cannot actually have children. They cannot get pregnant. Even sometimes when they get pregnant and they will experience they are losing those children when they are during birth or things like that. Even some of them, they are dying during birth. Now, all these signs, ladies and gentlemen, they are patterns of dysfunction. No, what we're talking about dysfunction, we're talking about irregular things that don't normally happen to normal families, healthy families which are operating in a healthy way. Usually, if you experience barrenness within the sisters, some of the sisters and other siblings, or sometimes you're experiencing a lot of men who actually cannot give birth, sometimes they're having a problem with low sperm count or the things like that, they cannot actually get a woman pregnant. There's a very big chance, ladies and gentlemen, that family is dysfunctional. You know what I mean? So there's something is a curse that has got to be broken so that these families can actually continuously live a healthy life forthwards. Sign number 9 that you're actually operating or you have been operating in the dysfunctional family unit is when sometimes there's a lot of premature deaths. Now, I remember doing a video and I told you guys that sometimes you'll see a lot of family members who are actually passing away without, for unknown reasons, for unknown causes. You just woke up one morning and somebody died in their sleep. You know what I mean? A sibling died in their sleep. Or sometimes somebody has just gotten married and they got hit by a car, the things like that. And sometimes these people, they're not passing on because of age or due to age. They are simply passing on for unexplainable circumstances. Now, a lot of times I've told you guys, when you're talking about generational curse and trauma, a lot of times these things actually even sometimes taking people's lives within the unit. Is the reason as to why I did a video before and I told you, the black sheep of the family, you are the sacrificial lamb in that family. So your existence in that family is actually sometimes what is helping those families sometimes even to thrive, because without you, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of people are going to start going down. Now, I've told you, ladies and gentlemen, premature deaths can be caused again by, it can be an accident, it can be a sickness, a long-term illness, it can be, even sometimes it can be occasional. Just out of the blue, somebody just passes on without any answers, without an explanation. You just wake up and somebody's gone. And a lot of times you're looking very close and you're seeing these people have been very young, very innocent, and sometimes they have actually passed on. So premature deaths are also signs of a dysfunctional family, a family unit. Sign number 10 that you are involved with the dysfunctional family unit is where you actually experience a lot of members in that family. They have got different roles and assignments in the unit. We have always talked about the golden child. We've always talked about the scapegoats. We've always talked about the enabling parent. We've talked about the lost child. We've talked about the paralyzed child. There is different members that are assigned different roles in that family, of course, including the narcissistic parent at the top. Now, these families, for them to operate, they need a certain level of they need certain people to participate and carry out different assignments and missions in those units for them to be able to operate. So without that, it's not possible for them to operate. So if you have noticed a lot of those kind of roles and assignments in those units, you had best believe, ladies and gentlemen, you're most likely dealing with a dysfunctional unit. And if you're the black sheep or you're scapegoat of the family, you better start working, and you'd better start working as soon as yesterday. So other than that, guys, you always know that I do love and appreciate your support. You always know that you can always book a session with me. You may always donate to support my channel if you want to. And until then, it's been a blessing to have you guys on board. I'll catch you guys in my next one. Those are us signing out. Much love and blessings. Peace.